Well, folks, they actually did it. Nintendo has unveiled officially the Nintendo Switch 2 in the most teasery of teaser trailers I think I have ever seen. And we're going to get into all the details today, as few as there may be here. But as we get started, please hit like and subscribe. I really appreciate it as I approach 5,000 subscribers. This unveiling, of course, was leaked by Nate the Hate on YouTube on his podcast a few days ago. And I went to bed last night, honestly, not sure that we were going to see this trailer because they had said nothing about it the day before. But without further ado, let's jump right into it. Here is the Nintendo Switch 2 trailer. When I woke up this morning, this only had 8,000 views. And it's already close to 1 million now, a couple of hours later. But here we go. There, of course, is the original Switch. Take a good look at it, because everything's about to change. We're not going to be sliding those Joy-Con off anymore. Some buttons are changing. The shape of the Switch is changing. It looks a lot more rounded this time around. There is a USB-C port on the top and the bottom, and that's really curious. What is the point of having two of those? It's still unclear. Nice to see the inclusion of a 3.5mm headphone jack though, because people still really want those. A newly designed kickstand that is adjustable apparently. Way better than that original kickstand for sure. The Joy-Con are getting larger, and I do want to stop right there and look at the shape of the trigger and the bumper. It's so far over onto the side. That actually concerns me that it will be accidentally pressed. Hopefully that doesn't turn out to be the case, but that is completely redesigned there and looks like it is a little more ergonomically shaped as well. And then of course we do have this one additional square button on this right hand controller. So we have, as far as I can tell, it doesn't indicate in any way what that actually is. So another curious thing we don't really have an answer for. I also want to point out that the joystick itself does look a little bit larger in diameter, at least, than the original Joy-Con stick, and I think that that's going to make a lot of people very happy because those original sticks were just so small. Hopefully they're a little taller as well. I'm going to slow this down again because you can actually see the joystick expand in this animation right here. It's definitely larger in diameter for sure. But what is that extra button? Because it's only on the right Joy-Con, which means when you split these and share one with a friend, they're not going to have access to that function if they have that left controller. I don't know, very interesting. The sticks honestly do not look taller, so they may just be wider. I can't quite tell because we don't see it depressed, but in this animation you see that it almost looks like there's an extra button here too, like this has bumpers as well, or maybe those are the magnets. It just is so unclear at this point. They give us so little information. There's also this extra little spot that looks like an infrared light. When I show my daughter this, it has this weird like gurgling, like watery sound when it paints across there, and she was like, "Ugh, that's a weird sound." But look at right here. Hello. Right there. There's that extra little. It looks like some kind of infrared receiver or transmitter. And at first I thought that might be a proximity sensor to let you know that it was attached to the Switch, but now I don't think so. Why would it need that? It has a physical connection. So that's yet another unanswered question, but please leave your speculations in the comments below. All in all, I think the Joy-Con looks really sleek. It's a nice deep black. The buttons look ever so slightly larger too to me. The triggers do have that bump out, so it should be slightly more ergonomic and easier to hold, and it's just larger, so for adults like me with big man hands it should be more comfortable to hold. And I do want to note that they really zoom in on the joystick and this animation here, and I'm hoping that that is an indication that they have fixed the Joy-Con stick drift. That right there, looking so smooth. Hopefully that means the stick drift problem is long gone, no more. Maybe these are Hall effect sticks, I don't know, but I just feel like highlighting that part of it is hopefully an indication of that. And then we get a look at the the little attachments that the current Switch has, but this is completely remodeled, obviously. It's indented where the triggers are instead of having those bump out buttons. And of course they magnetically attach as well. And then what is that? What is that little button there for? Is that to release it somehow. I guess maybe that's what it is. There's just still so much we don't know. And there they detach in the background, and you're going to see them pop into here because they do magnetically attach. I think that is more apparent now than ever, and honestly I think that's a pretty good move on their part. They're gonna have to be really strong magnets, obviously, so they don't fall off if you shake your Switch or your kid gets mad. It's like but I know that one time I got a pair of Joy-Con for like $30, which is over half off, right? A really good deal, because somebody had returned them and they had gotten the slide-on part, they had put it on backwards and they couldn't get it off, and I'm like so sure that that's why they were returned, because one of those was on there and it was on backwards and it was stuck, and I was able to get it off eventually and it was completely fine, but people were confused by those. So I think a redesign there is really good. I like that they color coordinated this part, so it's blue on blue and red on red, like there's no confusing that. So there are some really smart design choices here. Nintendo Switch 2, I think just giving it that 2, people are used to things being called 2 or version 3, whatever, and that's a really easy way to distinguish that, hey, this is a new system. We're not calling it the Switch U or the new Switch. It's the Switch 2. Simple. Everybody's going to understand that. I do wonder, will we get other color Joy-Con, or will they only accent it with different colors around the joystick like they do here? And then we get this brief glimpse of what I assume is Mario Kart 9, and it's really it looks so much like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I'm having a little bit of trouble getting excited about it. Visually, I think I was just hoping for a little more, although I didn't think we'd see any gameplay footage at all today. So anything's better than nothing, but I do not like how the controller attachment here has switched to in the middle of it. I don't think that looks good. I'm fine with it on the dock, but right there, it's just a little too much for me. I guess that's probably the final design. And then we get the 2025. It's come out in 2025. Now listen, I have been saying for almost a year that we were not going to hear or see this until March of this year, and that it was going to release in August or September. And I was wrong about when we would see it for the first time, but when you think about it, we've seen it, but have we really seen it? And they're not going to show this again until April 2nd. In a way, I was kind of right about it. And this just blanket 2025 makes me seriously doubt that this is going to release in May or June. I'm not sure you can wait to publicly show off the system and then launch it a month or 2 months later. They are hosting these Nintendo Switch Experience hands-on events all over the world, but those are after the Direct on April 2nd. In fact, I can show you that here. They're going to be in the United States anyway. They're going to be in New York on April 4th through the 6th, and then in Los Angeles on April 11th, and then in Dallas on April 25th. So this is like a traveling show. That's all the units they're going to have available to them, I guess. They're going to these different places on different times. Now they could do a 2-month turnaround, I guess. I mean, they did have their big presentation in January last time, and then they released it in March, so it could come out in June. It could. It's just that, hey, it's 2025. That's when you're going to get this. And they didn't say spring of 2025 or summer of 2025 or fall of 2025. Just 2025. And I guess that gives them some freedom to make that final decision of when it's going to release. I still think August 2025 feels right to me, but hey, I'm welcome to them proving me completely wrong and releasing this sooner. Hopefully it's not later than that, and we don't have to wait till holiday, November, a traditional November release for the console. But thankfully, we also got this detailed, and we can all kind of breathe a sigh of relief that it is backwards compatible with physical Switch cartridges, and that is just such great news. And not just because you're going to have a great day one library, but because as the Switch ages with that battery, the battery's going to go bad. It's hard to change the battery. Batteries for it won't even be manufactured at some point, so it's nice to be able to move those games forward to a new system. And hopefully that will mean that they run a little better as well. Of course, we do get this little asterisk which says certain Nintendo Switch games may not be supported on or fully compatible with Nintendo Switch 2. Details will be shared on the Nintendo website at a later date. So it looks like not every game is going to play, but I think that will be a very rare case where it's something that really needs that original hardware. Like there weren't many games that used it, but that right controller had the infrared sensor that you could like make hand gestures to, and it would see stuff. Or maybe they're talking about, you know, like the Labo stuff, because the new Switch is bigger, it's not going to fit in those Labo. So there may be a few games like that. I also thought about Mario Party, where you put the switches together and you could like draw the lines across screens. Like maybe there's something weird with that where it wouldn't work. But I think for the most part we're going to see backwards compatibility with the Switch 1. And on April 2nd, I think that we're going to see Mario Kart 9. I think that's going to be a launch title. I think they're going to compare that side by side with Mario Kart 8 and show us like, here's what, you know, 8 looked like, and here's what we can do now with the new hardware with 9, and how much better it looks, and reflections and lighting and, you know, whatever. I also think that we're going to see Metroid Prime 4. We're going to get more gameplay of that, and we're going to see it compared. It's going to be a cross-gen title, and we're going to see it compared to Switch 1 to Switch 2 side by side, and how much better it looks on Switch 2 with some of the other functionality that they can do with this new processor. And that's another thing we don't actually know from this is what kind of processor is in there, what are the specs, and what can this really do. And I think that's why I'm disappointed in the Mario Kart 9 little snippet that we got. It doesn't really wow me, you know, like it doesn't really make me excited for what the hardware can do. But hopefully that all changes on April 2nd of this year. I do think that showing Mario Kart 9 first makes a lot of sense. That's their best-selling game on the Switch, and it's one that has been out for a decade at this point, because it was originally on the Wii U, and it's time for a new one, and people are excited to get a new one. Like, we are almost begging for it. So that was a great first game to show off, but I think that about wraps it up with my thoughts about the Nintendo Switch 2. Let me know what details I missed in the comments below, or what you were excited about, or what you noticed about the system. Also, what games would you like to see at launch? This is definitely an exciting day for Nintendo fans, so thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, all that jazz. Stay kind and encouraging out there, and I'll catch you on the flippity flip.